Alright. So, the signal update, I originally published it because I was looking at the DLC update to it. And for the most part, I thought, well, that's basically all that really matters. I wasn't really interested in the signal part of the update, other than the fact that I could use it to basically make a garage door opener. But something occurred to me that I hadn't previously considered. Namely, that you can actually use the signal update in the writing of your own campaigns. Now, what do I mean by that? By using the signal update to write your own campaigns? Well, something occurred to me. You can technically... Let's see. Was it in here? Where is the signal block? Was it in the intent? I don't know. It's in here. There we go. Let's see here. Just gonna do that. Do that. Sure I don't have those set up on any of the hot bars. So, anyway. Does that say front? Okay, that's the rear. That's the front. Setup actions. Setup actions. Signal. Toggle block off. if I activate this, it does absolutely nothing. Or does it? Let's change this around a bit. Okay, this is where the issue began. Programming issues. I'm not good at this. Simply put, I am not good at this. Alright, let's try this now. I need to learn how to program. Okay, it's on. One of them is trying to work. They're all on. But they're not working. Okay, that's where the problem is. Oh, duh. need to make these things work. I've got a gyro. I've got an AI basic task. What am I missing? Still not following. Need to learn more about this whole thing, but just on the basis of this right here, it does work. You can activate one and it will trigger all of these that are on the same frequency to try and follow you. Or if you're building a scenario, you can use this method to try and create various attack drones that will pursue and attempt to destroy you. You could actually set this up on a completely different block set. Action relay 3. Let's just rename this test so that's easier to find. Should activate this one as well. Pretty sure they're all set to 1. Yeah, they're all active now. And as you can see, I haven't triggered that one sensor yet. So, you can use this to set up various events for your scenarios. Like it says, you could literally just have like a sensor attached to an action relay somewhere and have drones either patrolling various GPS coordinates or something similar, and have them set up to where when you activate this sensor, it either triggers a GPS location sending all of the various drones to try and reach your location if you're, you know, like having a drone scenario where you're supposed to be being attacked by them or something. This is all stuff that someone who's clearly better than me at programming could figure out. So the whoopsie daisies there. But I mean, you can still see that they're basically at least still looking in my direction whenever I get near them. But the basic concept is, with a little bit of clever engineering and a bit of clever programming, you can basically set up entire swarms of drones to follow you around in like a dungeon or labyrinth setup. Or even just as part of one of your campaigns that you're making. No matter how you phrase it or how you swing it around, there are dozens of options with the Signal to basically make your own campaigns now. Things that you couldn't do previously. You're able to set up encounters, boss battles, all without scripting or various other things. So now you have the ability to do things that you previously couldn't. And I'm not saying that this is going to solve all of your previous in-game problems, because it's not. But it will give you an opportunity that you previously didn't have. to do things that you previously couldn't due to game engine restraints. Like I said, none of that is actually a bad thing in terms of how you play the game. There's a lot of new content that has been added in to improve the overall functionality. And give you more, can't really say serviceable options, but definitely more options in general. And that's going to have a big effect on gameplay. I need the upper one. It's also really going to help with creating scenarios and allowing player interaction with the environment a lot more. Because whereas before, you were limited on what you could do. Now, you have options that previously were completely unavailable. Actually needs to be a little lower. Try 25. Oh yeah, that works. That works a lot better. Alright. Not much else I can do here. Well, there is one more thing I want to do. I need a way to feed ammo into it. Let's see, that... It's not even centered. Well, that's because this wing doesn't have a center. Oh well. And it is 2 up from the bottom. 2 up. Now, some of you might be wondering why I even care about that. Well, actually, I know none of you really care about my opinion on anything. You're just here for the sake of arguments. But with the way the game is currently designed, I've heard a lot of people complaining about some of the things that the developers some of the developers' choices, such as there being no storyline to the game. And that kind of confused me, because the game's always been a case of make your own story. So, what's the problem? It's never been about the individual story. Because the whole point has always been make your own. Let's see. It's 25. So whenever I hear these complaints that people have, oh, well, the game doesn't have a dedicated storyline. Well, yeah. The point is you make one yourself. It's not about what the devs have done, it's about what you are going to do. The devs aren't responsible for what you do. You are. What you build, how you build it, where you build it, all this stuff is stuff that you yourself have to figure out. There's not going to be some easy fix that just tells you, oh, well, this is what you're going to be doing. And this is how to do it. Space Engineers is more of a fix-it-yourself type game. And I love it for that. I would not be able to freely create things if it was just left up to, oh, well, here's a pattern, build it. Like, I've been re-engineering this thing for, like, multiple prototypes. This is the latest version of this. It's literally a LAAT gunship. I built custom turrets for it, because the original ones were too big and didn't really give any functionality to it. So I got rid of them. Modified it with some new ones. You just literally watched me add these. These and plumb them up into the wing. All of this is stuff I decided to do. No one forced it upon me. No one made the decision that I was going to do this. I built this entire Star Destroyer and everything in it from square one with nothing but a dream. Everything about this has been a multi-year project that I've been working on and upgrading every opportunity I get. No one told me that I was supposed to make a Star Wars ship. No one told me that this was what I was going to be doing when I first started this. I did this because I wanted to. The game developers have allowed me to do this. There's no restriction on what I can build for myself, because I'm the one building it. They didn't tell me to build this. They didn't force me to build this. They didn't install the constraints that made... I mean, really all they did was install the stuff that I built it out of. Every modification, every part, everything that I've done has been with the various mods and assorted other things that the developers have added in over the years. And no one forced them to do that either. And the signal update is just the latest in a long line of things that the devs have done. Like, take for example, this. This is a standard hangar door. Now here's the thing. Say... I depressurized everything. Alright. Let's see here. Delta. And 2. 8. And 3. I am now in control of this droid starfighter here. But, uh-oh, the door is locked. I did not open the hangar before deploying the fighter. Well, thanks to the signal update, I now do not have to have any additional input in order to reopen this door from within. All of a sudden, I can open and close I can open and close my hangar doors without ever returning to the starship, or without having to exit the formula. I need to fix that. That's another thing I don't know where that happened from. Probably when I was originally building the other side. But because of that, this has eased how I can control my starfighters and assorted other things. I have complete control of this thing. I'm not even in it. The only downside is... there we go. So you can see how this drastically changes how the game is played. I can do things that previously would have required me to exit out of a design, go back, find a button panel like this, open the hangar, then climb back into this, activate the remote control feature, and just go through an enormous amount of shenanigans to achieve something that should be quite literally as simple as pressing a button. Now, as you can see, there's really no extra features here. Everything's pretty much just there. I do have an antenna installed in here in case you were thinking I didn't. You kind of need to in order to make it work. But like I says, everything else this is a very, very basic droid starfighter. I could install missile launchers onto it, but I don't really see a need to. These are the originals that I developed way back when. These don't even have weapons on them anymore. They used to have some, like, TIE fighter cannons or droid starfighter cannons from the Star Wars pack installed on them, but I got rid of those a long time ago. Or, since I'm not using the Star Wars pack, I don't have it anymore. But like I said, it's still got the remote control, it's got a camera, everything is still functional. This is just a different version of it. Now, I could modify everything and make this a little bit, you know, bigger, but I don't really see a need to. I could probably change out the battery, too. These things have a very limited battery span. And then, of course, there's my old mining rig, which I really, really desperately need to update, because this thing is an antique. This monstrosity is old. This is my old asteroid mining rig. It's got a radar, it's got an ore detector, or it's got an antenna, ore detector. Or it's got solar panels on the side. The whole thing's made out of heavy armor. Got big old batteries on it. Pretty sure I've also got some nuclear reactors shoved into this thing. I don't know, those may just be gyroscopes. Yeah, don't ask about the weird engine configuration. This was literally just so that I could fit them in there without adding any extra mass to it. Like this, all this stuff exists because I decided one day I wanted to make it. And with all the stuff that the developers have added, I could. And as far as realism goes, I mean, what really do you want from realism? How much more real do you want a space video game to be? The armor works like armor. The weapons shoot. The things that have thrusters, they fly. The landing gears allow it to land. You need oxygen to breathe. All this stuff that anyone who says that this game doesn't have realism, what more do you want? What do you want from this game? The guns require ammunition if you have that setting involved. That's one reason why I created all this pipe work for this thing. The thrusters need fuel. The lights need power. You require a light to see. I mean, all in all, what exactly are you talking about when you say the game lacks realism? Things are piped. I mean, no matter how you slice it or how you dice it, everything that exists in the game exists there because it was installed there for a purpose. Every purpose exists. Like, right now, there is very little light in this massive dark chamber because I didn't really install a lot of light in this chamber. So a lot of it's dark. I have to turn on my flashlight so I can see what's going on around me. That's pretty real. There's not a lot else I can say there. I I'm not sure about people sometimes, though. It's just a thing I don't understand. But I guess that's just me. I gotta blueprint this, because actually, since I've modified it, the original that I left behind didn't have the relock that to the hull. Let's turn the engines on. Where's that other... oh, there it is. Like I said, there's a lot you can do here. And everything you do in this game has its own level of realism. That's one of the things I can't understand a lot about people who are like, oh, well, it's not realistic enough, or... turn these engines off. I mean, just look at this. I built a literal LAAT gunship out of just random blocks and stuff. This isn't something you would normally be able to do in a lot of different games. But it's a building game. Building things like this is exactly why you play it. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be the best there ever was. As long as you're getting enjoyment out of it, what does it matter? I even managed to figure out a way to do the thing where the doors are slid back and are still fairly close to the hull. I didn't have to do that. I even automated the process where the doors re-extend so that way you can have them close properly. Now yes, there are limitations to the game. There's always limitations. Anyone who says there isn't clearly isn't playing the game right. Or is a modder. Now you're probably wondering why there isn't an external hatch for this, or an external button. Well, that's mostly because I figured that if you were activating this particular ramp, you're probably going to be on the either inside or outside of the ship anyway. Since this is the rear hatch. I mean, normally you would be boarding through this door. And then, like it says, you'd have your troops sitting there, have your guys standing, so forth and so on. Like I said, I automated all of this in order to make this feel more like an LAAT gunship. So this isn't something that I built. And yes, I did build it on a whim. I mean, that's the same way with my Lambda shuttle. I built this on a whim. I built it because I wanted a Star Wars shuttle on my massive Star Destroyer. I built this because I wanted something slightly better than this. Mistakes were made. This is a gunship. This is a shuttle. This has a fully functional interior. This uses two different kinds of cockpit block, but also has a fully functional interior where it matters. And technically, yes, you can mount the side of the ship to get to the cockpits, so you don't actually need a jetpack to get up here. These were kind of added as additional defense guns, and also because the LAT gunship did have those wing-mounted laser turrets, the ball turrets. Anyway, you can control these turrets from the secondary cockpit. They're fully functional as well. Railguns are also functional. I replaced the missile launchers with railguns because I wanted the penetrative power of the railgun and the range. The same way with the fact that I added cannons here instead of the Gatling guns. I could have added the Gatling guns here, which would have added more rapid fire firepower, but I wanted the long barrel cannons that come out the front of the LAT. Like I said, all of this is aesthetic choices that I made. Nothing really matters here, other than personal desire. I mean, there are better LAAT gunships. As a matter of fact, I have one. This one is like half the size of my Abomination. It's okay, maybe not half the size. Plus I'm also missing this rear gun, which this one had, but mine doesn't. This one was using the Star Wars weapons pack. I'm not. Plus this has these turrets. I don't. But this is a Republic era LAAT, and this is my Imperial variant. So I can actually justify saying, oh well, they're different models. They're two different ships. They're supposed to be that way. Justifiable ignorance. The things I do. Anyway, like I says, the signal update would allow you to call in reinforcements. Like, for example, I could, if I was better at programming, I could install AI controls on both of these ships. There's still plenty of room up in the spine where I could install all of the automated flight controls, the sensor, well, not the sensor, but the remote control block and everything else, and even the broadcasting block. I could make it to where, oh, you send the signal, it says reinforcements on the way, deploying gunship or something similar. And basically call these in and have everything automated to where the doors open automatically, the hatches drop automatically, and these things just fly in and are like, oh, well, here's the reinforcements. If you had an NPC mod, you could basically have like NPCs sitting there your NPC stormtroopers or clone troopers, and have it set up to where they're standing there, ready to go. Or sitting there, ready to go. I know there's a mod that adds people to seats. So you could fill up all these seats with personnel and basically make a cinematic shot of, we're bringing in reinforcements. Automate all the turrets and trigger and set them up to where they auto fire, and you could set up a bunch of random enemies and have them get shot by these things coming in. There are so many different ways you could use the signal broadcasting system to operate your own cinematic scenes. I could call in a bunch of TIE fighters, a bunch of automated TIE fighters to swoop in and have them deliver Imperial justice to a bunch of rebels. I could call in the Lambda shuttle and make it look like Darth Chimichanga's showing up. The only limitation Space Engineers offers is your own imagination. If you don't have an imagination, then this game is going to be very restrictive to you. I mean, the fact is, I could automate this entire Star Destroyer to follow me. I could be in like a command ship somewhere and turn this entire warship, this massive dreadnought filled with weapons, into little more than basically an automated support ship. The technology's there. The developers have given you the opportunity to do so. I could even, turn off or turn on the weapons from a distance by changing the signal frequency and having different responses for it. All of these things are possible. The developers have given us the opportunity to do so. It is only up to us, the players, whether or not this will be what happens or not. So I hope future players feel the same way I do about this game. It's not the restrictions. It's what you do with them that matters. B.O.S. Productions, signing off. I hope.